Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. So guys, welcome back to the podcast. Super excited about today's episode. And I have brought you other guests like my guest today, Judi Fox, hashtag Fox Rocks, if you do not follow her on LinkedIn. I love connecting with other business owners, other entrepreneurs like myself and Judi who have fallen in love with LinkedIn. Her affection for LinkedIn started a few years before mine, and I ended up falling in love with it as well. But everybody has a specific reason why they ended up falling in love with LinkedIn, and you guys know why I fell in love with it. And you're going to love Judi's story about how she ended up falling in love with it, but it ended up turning into a business while she was falling in love with it. So number one, Judi and I connected on LinkedIn. And we saw that we had a lot of synergy in obviously the space of what we do, educating, informing, coaching on the LinkedIn platform. But more importantly, we really connected on the fear that a lot of people have about LinkedIn. They're scared, they're intimidated. There's too many serious people on there.
It's just for professionals.
Just for professionals. And we're here to tell you that that's not true. And again, it's not just for recruiters. It's not for people looking for a job. It's not monster.com. It has turned into something else. So number one, Judi, welcome to today's episode. And number two, for my listeners that are not familiar with Judi Fox, tell them a little bit about you and what you do currently now. But more importantly, what was that pivotal moment in your entrepreneurial journey that set you on this path that has led you to where you are now?
Yes, that was a great introduction. And also, I agree with everything you said. The platform sometimes gets, kind of beat up out there in the talking points and the people's opinions about it. And we're here to help you fall a little bit more in love. So the way that LinkedIn really came into my life was, it sounds like a relationship starting, but basically I graduated as a chemical engineer in the 90s. I always kind of point that out because the only way I knew what a career option was either being exposed to it through my family, or what is my sister studying in college being exposed to it, or a book. We did not have all the things that we have now to Google and find out more information about a career. So my dad's an engineer, my sister's an engineer, I became an engineer. So I studied chemical engineering, graduated, joined a Fortune 500 company, and was working my way up the ladder. And 10 years into that career is when the 2008 crisis hit and I lost my job. I took a leave of absence. And when that happened, I put everything I owned in storage. I got a renter for my townhouse, traveled the world on my airline tickets, on my miles, and joined LinkedIn. It's like I had a list of things to do and LinkedIn was on my list. And I know exactly the day. I know exactly what was going on in my life when I joined. It was the day after my birthday. It was such a pivotal moment. And it's so memorable to me because it changed everything. Immediately when I started networking, you got to start with one connection, 10 connections. Connect with who you know, who's already in your network. Who did I just work with for the past 10 years? I remember the moment I hit 300 connections. Like, I remember these moments. And the reason it changed everything was because connecting with people, having conversations, telling people, oh, I just got let go, but I'm traveling the world. I was living my best life. That actually brought more business and opportunity to me than I could have even imagined in that first year of being on LinkedIn. Just being a regular person saying, oh yeah, what are you up to? Oh, how's everything going in the 2008, 2009 crisis? People need each other. So that's my initial, like, how I met LinkedIn.
And I and we talked about, you know, people are so intimidated by the platform, and the simple advice that you and I were talking about in the pre-show is just don't be weird.
Yeah.
It's you, everyone has this notion of, I'm always doing polls now on LinkedIn actually, because I want to hear from the contingency of what people are kind of frustrated with, what they don't like. And true, um, people have said they don't like the spammy messages, they don't like the bots. And you and I also both really connected on it. If you can't take a couple minutes a day to genuinely message someone that you really are interested in learning about and hearing about and connecting with and collaborating and creating something, LinkedIn may not be the platform for you then. Because I always tell people it's BNI on steroids. If anyone has been in BNI or Latip or any networking group for that matter, but the difference between those and LinkedIn is that it's a global networking event. I shared with my wife a few months back, there was a 7-day stretch, 7-day stretch in November where I picked up 7 clients from 7 different countries.
Wow.
And a lot of that was because of LinkedIn and the international capacity that it has. And again, listen, 2020 was a very, very interesting year. Something we were also talking about in the pre-show is that we were primed for this. We were ready for this moment where people had the need for what we had to offer, but it's still not late for other people to get on there to start learning it. And 2021, it's much the same right now. We're still waiting for the temperature to come down, but it's gonna take some time. So Judi, I always love diving into this because there's a lot of people that have heard me over the last 2+ years of having this podcast about the importance of LinkedIn. If you, and I want to keep this super simple, if
Mhm.
you had to put your thumb on one specific reason why someone listening to this right now and they're not on LinkedIn, why do they need to get on there now more than ever?
Something that just, and I would say it's really recent why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I knew this was coming and it's coming more and more. LinkedIn, you're being able to be found and you're at the top of Google search. So I took a client today, this morning, and this client kept saying, well, I spend a lot of time on Instagram, love Instagram. I love all the different platforms. But when we Googled his name, it wasn't his company. It wasn't anything else. It was LinkedIn. Instagram was actually at the bottom of the Google search page. It was LinkedIn, website, and then like an article, something that had been written about him. I was like, so if LinkedIn's at the top, and it's been happening for more and more clients, they're starting to say, oh my gosh, when I Google my name, when I check in on myself, when I'm an author, I'm a speaker, LinkedIn's at the top. I need to get that optimized. I need to get that looking amazing, because if that's what they click on, it cannot look like a job seeker, or it has to look like a living, breathing website, and it can operate like a living, breathing website. So that's what I tell people.
So explain to people, and I'm actually, for the people that are able to see this, I'm actually going to show you guys
Yeah,
in real time. Yeah.
I like it.
Because I've done this before. So for those people that are like, well, Judi, what does it make a difference if I appear on Google or not and be searchable? Because a lot of people don't know the power of search engine optimization. They don't know the power of what that can do for your visibility. So, and again, optimizing your profile is number one, because again, visibility in an oversaturated and overcrowded social media world is an advantage. When you can be seen on a global huge platform like Google that takes people back to LinkedIn, it's a game changer. So why is it important for people to focus on that if they're not really understanding why?
So I tell people all the time, and I'm sure you have clients who have a whole thing where they're like, I want to process people through this, and I want them to do this. I want them to take this action, whatever that action is, 15-minute call, some type of demo. they want them to opt into something. Human beings are more willing to do it when they see two things happening on the person that wants them to do something. They see some social proof. They see other human beings looking like they're taking action, even if they don't technically see the people jumping on a 15-minute call with you. If you're engaging in public comments and conversation, people are already getting the impression that people are talking to you. They're talking with you. You're already starting conversations. They just have to bring and be it. They feel warmer when they're in your DMs, when you're in your comments, when they're willing to get on a 15-minute call because they see us talking for 20, 30 minutes. They're familiar, and it's so powerful. It's so powerful. I can't even express how powerful it is. And then you mentioned, what is the power of being found in Google search or just being able to search your name? We just have to trust people. The amount of trust that has been undermined by fake accounts or these types of things. So the more your Google page, and when we Google you and we find you and we find a few interviews, a few articles, or 100 articles, that says something to our brain that you're a real person, that you are legit. And we immediately go social proof, visual, like Google search trust, done. I'll get on a call with you. I'll opt into your form. I will do the things you wanted me to do. And that happens in an instant, whether people realize it or not. We're judging the Google search. So did I answer your question?
You did. So I just want to kind of walk people through this because this goes back. I want people to see this in real time.
Let's do it.
So I'm on Google and I'm going to search my name. So I'm going to search. And if you guys
LinkedIn is
look,
pretty high up there.
if you guys look, literally, let me see if I can pull this up really quickly. If you look right here, that is my. So obviously my website's going to be first, obviously, because it's my website. But if you go through, the second result on Google is my LinkedIn profile. And then obviously there's some other stuff, but this is at the top of the first page. So this is
what happens with me? Because I'm just curious.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do that. This is fun.
Judi, so you got to get the I right.
Yeah, I'm sorry for those that are just listening to this, but if you go over to LinkedIn, yes. I'll put the link in the description. You can watch what Judi and I are doing right now.
Judi Fox. Oh, LinkedIn.
Right here, same thing. So there's Judi's website. Second is her LinkedIn profile. Yeah. And there's some videos. So people have to understand the power of LinkedIn goes far beyond what people actually understand. So Judi, let me ask you this question.
And that LinkedIn, that used to not come up high in that Google search.
Until Microsoft bought them out and they embedded search engine optimization, all of our profiles, it starts to really work. And this is why it's so important.
And I will say, and I'm sure you're seeing the same thing, LinkedIn articles are actually getting better in the search on Google, and they're now allowing you to subscribe to a LinkedIn article. So I have seen the resurgence. Is that a good word? The visibility of things that people will say, oh, this doesn't work on LinkedIn. Oh, this doesn't work. And I'm like, it is a long play. It is the SEO search, long play, the expertise. It's just like having your website. Is my website going to get millions of hits? Maybe not. But that long-term visibility is so powerful.
No, it's absolutely true. So I love asking these types of questions because I've had other LinkedIn people on here. What was the biggest misnomer that you thought about LinkedIn the day before you signed up? So it's your birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
you sign up the day after your birthday. So and you get on there, right? And the intent may have been for Judi to get a new job, right? The intent,
it was, yeah.
And you're traveling around Europe. You know, you're living your best life. You're looking for a new job. And so what happened? What was that big misnomer where you're like, oh my God, I don't think I need to get another job?
So it did take me a bunch of years, but I will say one of the biggest things is I want to say this correctly. I don't think I needed to meet anybody new. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that people get on LinkedIn and immediately think, I need to connect with this ideal client avatar that's this random person that I don't even know right now. Like, I don't know XYZ person, but I need to connect with them. When I got on LinkedIn, my initial, and I'm grateful for this, was to actually just not worry and say, why don't I connect with everyone that I really enjoyed actually working with over the past 10 years? Those connections have actually come through even 20 years later. I've gotten work from a connection I knew 20 years ago and they've never worked with me. I got one of my biggest contracts right out of the gate, 2018. September 2018 is when I launched the LinkedIn Business Accelerator method, the official launch of it. And one of my biggest first contracts came from somebody I just happened to be a chemical engineer with in college 20 years ago, never worked together, like directly. I think we worked together on a few things, but she never hired me. Like, we just were in each other's circles for 20 years. And she said, oh, you just launched that business? I have a great client idea for you. Here, connect with this person. She put me in warm, direct contact. And then all of a sudden now I'm on a retainer with a major company and I'm like, oh, there you go. Like, but that trust was fast because she could say, I've known this person for 20 years. She launched this. She's legit. You can hire her.
Amazing. So what do you think, we talked about fear a little bit with LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Because people think it's quote unquote all professionals. And you and I both know how much it's rapidly changing still. If someone really wants to move themselves forward, not just in their career, but in their business, and there's a lot of things that they can do, how important of a role can LinkedIn play in getting that person to move forward?
So I think a couple of things. Number one, I love deleting the word professional because people say LinkedIn is professional. And I'm like, no, LinkedIn is leadership. So I delete the word professional and replace it with leadership because I think people still need to know what planet they're on. It's like traveling to a foreign country. They still need to know there's a language that might be different, but I like saying it's the language of leadership. Because honestly, what are you attracted to? When I get on LinkedIn, I personally am attracted to any type of person who has a tone that is either teaching me something, walking me step by step through something, and giving me some resources, maybe introducing me to an article, a brand, a business I didn't know exists, doing something really cool in this world. My mind is open to some higher level of leadership, or like I said, like that voice, not, hey, I'm professional and I just want to tell you about this. There's a bit of a wall when it says professional. So then what was the other thing? You said fear around LinkedIn. Oh no, what is the question again?
No, that was it. It's,
Okay.
how like LinkedIn can really change your business and move you forward if you really dive into it, because it shifted mine, it shifted yours, and I know it can shift other people, but a lot of them don't know why.
So I think the biggest reason why is because, and I love this book. It was just a random book I picked up one time, and it's called The Intelligent Entrepreneur, and it's written by, I think they're all Harvard Business School, business MBA graduates. I think. I could be wrong. But anyways, I just know that when I read it, some of the biggest takeaway points is, basically entrepreneurs and people who innovate and people who start their own companies tend to be people who are basically out there having really cool, interesting conversations, and they're willing to have them with other cool, interesting conversations people. We look at people who say they moved to Silicon Valley for the innovation. It's because when you get a bunch of people all together wanting, it just keeps leveling things up. So I noticed on LinkedIn today, for example, I joined a group that was for femtech investing. So I found it. I knew about it through LinkedIn. It was a pretty small, intimate Zoom call. It was 20 people. And I actually got a chance to talk on the Zoom call. I was not on the panel, but some of the panel members, one of the most interesting things one of the panel members said, who happens to be my client, but she said that she is more likely to work with and invest with somebody she's just been interacting with. That's a warm connection, a warm person in her life who didn't just pop in and say, I want to pitch you. I want this from you. I want. It was like, hey, I'm here for you. Like, for example, she's my client and I went to attend and be a part to support her there was no other agenda other than I'm here to support my client. She happens to be going live. I'm going to support her. She's texting me and saying, thank you so much for being here. She's my client. If we do micro actions like that, the macro happens and I'm not trying to be making it happen. I just know it happens. Just like, it's like that Steve Jobs quote, you'll look back and realize all the dots connected, but you just can't know along the way. So basically live by your values, live by who you are. When you go on the platform, if you show up with a leadership attitude and energy, and you are in that space of, if I'm going to go be there for my client, she's going to assume I'm going to be there for her and she'll keep wanting to work with me. I mean, that's how it works.
It's
So
people remember not only how they meet you, they remember how they were treated, but also when you do work with them, they also remember how you left them. And I think that's really important because, again, when you don't get addicted to the sale and addicted to picking up clients, and you focus on getting addicted to creating really, really good connections and relationships, because my clients become my friends, and I one of my clients called me that I haven't spoken to in like a year, and we ended up talking for 45 minutes on the phone yesterday, and she goes, I really respect you because I'm your client, and you're my coach. And I'm like, listen, I'm not your coach, I'm your friend. I said that's the big difference, and really letting people know that we're there for them. And I think that's the big thing. And I love everything that you said, is that, everyone gets very hyper focused on having to try to figure everything out all at once. And sometimes you just have to go through it and you have to connect the dots along the way. When you stay too much in your head and not enough in your heart, you get paralyzed and you end up doing a lot of nothing. And I always tell people it's better to do a little bit of something than a lot of nothing. Now, so before we start to wind down, Judi, and obviously I want to send people your way and where they can discover more about you and what you do. What's your best piece of advice for that person that either has never gotten on LinkedIn, or maybe they've been on LinkedIn for a number of years and they've never worked with you or I? What's the best piece of advice you can give them to just get started, to become more familiar with the platform?
the fastest way to get familiar with the platform and get started is to go out and comment. And I always tell people that, because commenting on LinkedIn is different than every other platform. Your comments on LinkedIn can show up as content to your audience. So even if you only have 100 connections and you make a comment on LinkedIn, those 100 connections could see your comment as one of the relevant comments as they scroll the newsfeed. So I have a couple connections, for example, that when they comment, because I'm really well connected with them, I feel like my whole news feed is, and I'll just point out my great connection, Tabitha Kavanaugh. She'll comment and then she'll comment and I'll just scroll my news feed and I'll be like, Tabitha commented. But the thing is, I love what she's commenting on, because she's introducing me to new conversations, new connections, new dots that are being connected. And that actually inspires me to create content and to think about how I think about the topics that are being discussed. Just because somebody's already said it, that's the whole world we live in. Somebody's already said what we're saying right now, but you're hearing it out of my story and my lens and my experience, and that creates different dots. And then when you listen to Scott, you'll hear it from his story, his experience. And human beings learn from stories. We learn from other people and their experiences. So going and commenting allows you to understand how to connect the dots of what you've lived through. And every single person's voice matters. You will get through to people that other people will never get through, and they happen to be saying some of the same things. It doesn't matter. We're all just so freaking unique with the way we phrase it, our tone, our story, our experiences in life shape us unlike anything we can be close, but we can never have the exact same experience. And so we need all of your voices. It's like taking one musical artist and saying, well, somebody already made a country song. Guess I'm done. There's no more country songs to be made, or no more rap songs, or no more jazz. That's not, I would be like, I'd be missing out on whatever music didn't get created because somebody just looked out there and said somebody's already making that music. So it doesn't matter. If somebody's already in the space you want to talk in, join that space. Like, we need your unique voice. So
there's plenty of people in the world. There's plenty of people to help. And again, like you said, people ask me all the time, they said, Scott, what makes you different than other people? And I said, just that, me. I am one of a kind. I bring my own special voice, methodology, and energy to what I do. And it may be a lot of people's cups of tea, but it may be not someone's cup of tea. And that's why there's other people out there, and there's a right fit for everyone. So perfectly stated. Love that. So before we get to my final question, obviously people can just search Judi Fox on LinkedIn, but I'll
Google search.
or you could go, or I showed you. You just got to Google her and she'll come up. But the hashtag on LinkedIn, if you really want to search her by hashtag, if you act on LinkedIn, you can search hashtag Fox Rocks. That will pull up, Judi's profile, all her content. But Judi, outside of LinkedIn, how can people connect with you to find out more about your services, what your company does, and how you serve businesses?
Yeah, so my favorite way is obviously go to my website, judifox.com. And if you scroll down, I actually have a one-page sheet download that you can see what I call my 5 tips to commenting on LinkedIn. Because there's actually, if you want to get your comment to be seen, you can do these 5 tips and you will get visibility on your comments. And people are like, what? Because it's more than just great comments, Scott, or great post. We want to actually say something. And I love that for people. So go to my website. That's where you can find all my socials. I mean, I'm on TikTok. I love all the different platforms. So, yeah, connect with me there. I show up. I had somebody the other day connect with me, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I saw them go through all the things and I was like, that's awesome. And I replied to them in all the places. So, and then I like to get on a call with people because I don't force people. I want to get on great quality phone calls. So if you are interested in working together, then that's when people book a call. And I guess I'm a little bit relaxed about it because I'm got plenty of business and plenty of amazing clients. So you want to be one, we'll see that I need to be a good fit for you and you need to be a good fit for me. So that's how I work.
I love that. And all that information that Judi just mentioned will be in the show notes. You guys can absolutely, and I suggest for you to absolutely connect with her. So Judi, for last question before we sign off, what does success truly mean to you?
That I am healthy and thriving and the people around me are healthy and thriving. I guess healthy is, not only mental, your body, your financial account can be healthy, like all the different areas of your life. I feel like it's very sustainable health. Maybe sustainable health is my keyword.
I love that. Sustainability is everything because it's the long-term game right now. The longer that we are healthy, the longer that we can be here and the more people we can serve. So
Yes.
love that sentiment. So Judi, thank you again so much for being here today. I know the audience is going to take away so much. And again, all the information of how to connect with Judi offline and online will be in the show notes. And I highly encourage you all to reach out to her. So Judi, thank you again.
Thank you.
Guys, so please, as always, if you're happening to listening to this on whatever platform you are, if you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, leave us a review, tell us what you loved, what were your biggest takeaways, what moved you forward. We would love to hear from you. So guys, please enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, Please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.